we certainly came here we were aware that we'd made some ground over the last, say, 3 to 4 weeks in a number of areas of our game, but certainly a step back today, Scotty. Certainly.
First quarter,
everything
was on the worst we've seen.
Oh no, not that. I think. Look, certainly, we weren't competitive in the game for long enough, and that eventually gets reflected in the scoreboard, and that was certainly the case in the first and third quarters. I think with the effort can be sort of defined or interpreted in a whole lot of ways, and quite happy, mate, to share an example with you. We were, really disappointed, say, with our effective total count, tackle count on the day. Like it's appalling. We had 38 tackles. So we go through our internal stats. So you want to call it 75% effort. We had 144 attempted tackles. So that's 106 times we tried to tackle Gold Coast, and it didn't work. Now, so in terms of that, mate, I reckon we'll concede that we'll meet you part of that way down the effort line, and we talked about it just then, and the disposal count's completely unbalanced. So you go through the math. We stick half those tackles. That takes 50 disposals off Gold Coast. Gives us an opportunity to pick the footy up and use it. So that's just one example of a part of the game that we were not good enough in today. But the effort thing, like I wasn't. We didn't discuss then. Everyone stood still. You didn't run because all those things, all those little stuff that you get fed, all those numbers, they were there. We could not handle the body strength of Gold Coast in the tackle, for one, no doubt. Early on, they pushed us aside, and then things become, and we see that all the time, not just in our games, but all games. A couple of players miss a tackle, so the next one misses a tackle. Similar with with kicking behind. So that's sort of the discussion that we just had. But all that means, not competitive enough for long enough, which was disappointing because we'd made some progress and a couple of steps back today.
What can you do as coach?
You do a whole heap of things, Pete. We do what we did then. We just have a quick chat about those areas of the game, and then the senior players had a little, they have their input, and we just keep driving it, and we keep educating, and we keep training it. That's what you do. We have a very inexperienced bunch, and that's how you deal with it. Well, today's disappointing, Pete. Absolutely no question. But in terms of the manner in which we're going about, like I said, over the past 3 to 4 weeks, we thought we made some progress, particularly in that combative area and our ability to attack the opposition with the ball. We felt last week against the Blues, scoreboard aside, there was certain fair percentage of the game, I reckon, where they were under a bit of pressure. We used the ball, and that wasn't there today. So we've seen it.
In raw numbers, it seemed like the 10-goal losses to Carlton would appear to be final contender, and 7 of those 18 goals to Cyrus seems to probably be the same quadrant later as you guys. I mean, has that sit with you?
Well, it's like I just said to Scott and Pete, very disappointing. That's the same. Yeah, that's how it sits.
Just like the tackling stuff.
Oh, that was one example. Yeah. So the tackling, therefore, a lot of our efforts used chasing the Gold Coast players around. Early in the game, we had our hands on the ball. A lot of our inside 50 entries were shallow. So we were getting the ball inside, say, 40 to 50. Gold Coast put us under some extreme heat. Their defenders, I thought, were particularly good early. Far outclassed our small forwards. They seemed to waltz around and clean up anything that came to ground. So there's always a whole heap of areas.
How was the overall?
Yeah, the boys are flat. When we've seen some progress over the last 3 weeks, and then to, like Neeld said, take a step or a couple of steps back, it's really disappointing for us. But that message was we have to stick together. No one else is going to pull ourselves out of it except the group that we've got here.
Could you sense that before you come?
No, not at all. I think we prepared really well this week, and it was going along how it had over the last sort of 3 weeks, and we were confident we were going to deliver in particular the competitiveness of the game. It's really disappointing that we only roll up and serve half a performance.
This was the body strength and that sort of Gold Coast, a very young team developing sort of team. Feel physically struggle with
Oh no, we were really poor. Obviously, with the stats, not being able to effectively stick those tackles, and I think part of tackling is a mindset thing, and clearly we weren't in the game for 100%, and it's something we're going to have to really work on, because as you said, Gold Coast are a developing side, but when we do play those stronger sides, if we don't have 100% effort by every player, the chinks in our armour are really exposed.
So I understand the mechanics of what went wrong today, but you came into this game with a real opportunity. We know probably starting favourites, but your form had been appeared to be building. What are your initial thoughts on why you took a step or a couple of step backwards today?
Yeah, I'll answer that the same way. Like all those, you say the numbers, but they're the reasons. That's why we know that. Being a part of young groups, it's a bit of a roller coaster. You go up and down, but clearly at the moment, the bit in the way down is probably just a bit low, to be honest. We look at the table. We watch it again, and it will point out those similar things that we've been talking about. And Nathan, like most of the time, is correct there. When with our team, unless there is 100% sort of committed performance right across the board and you nail everything, if there's just a few players that are a bit off, we're going to be exposed, which was the case today.
Mark, us in the media, how do you think we should be judging Melbourne Football Club? Like, we all have our opinions on how we think Melbourne is travelling, but how do you think we should be judging Melbourne after 7 months?
Okay. So that's the first part's a particularly difficult question for me, because I actually have never worked in the media. I don't know, how, what type of story. Yeah, sure. I think. Yeah. Well, certainly there's been some ups and downs. We thought, we were clearly, making some inroads today. We didn't. We took that 2 steps back. Big picture stuff. Again, we've taken the field, I think, with around about 50 odd games of experience. You're talking, in terms of AFL experience, that's nursery type stuff. So with that, human nature says, and people know, we're going to have some ups and downs, and that's we're clearly in a development phase. I think very similar group took the field today as what did we had 3 forced changes, and we were pleased with the effort of this very similar group last week. These are the guys who are going to take the club forward, and although we're aware that for supporters to hear it's a second rebuild, it is what it is, and you can't dress that up any other way. But the majority of people get that and understand that. For example, today, I presume all you guys saw the way that Jack Viney goes about his work. That's the future of our football club. We had solid performances, from Jack Viney. Matthew Jones in his 7th game had a solid performance from him. Dean Turlick in his 6th game of AFL footy, I thought he's been a bit of a shining light for us. I think those type of performances, and then we get leadership from Nathan, who I thought toiled really hard all day. Colin Sylvia, was probably another consistent performance. We had an inexperienced midfield group go up and really, and this is for us, and we did a lot of work with the Gold Coast boys and the way that they clear the footy. They're particularly good in that area. So it just seems that we jump from one spot to the other, and that's what you do when you've got a young team. So people will always see what they want to see, and we know that with supporters of clubs that do a rebuild, tough work.
The reason I asked the question is the reality the talent is just not there. I mean, you had probably 5 of your best 7 out tonight, and you haven't got the talent to compete with a team like the Gold Coast Suns. Is that the reality at the moment?
I think that you just got to be, again, I'll go coach speak with the work, the talent in terms of its talent and experience. And there's been a lot of talk this week from different clubs about how long does it take a player to develop into the AFL, and what the coaches are saying. It's somewhere between 3 to 5 years. So, that's 60 to 100 games. So those boys that I just read out then, Michael Evans would be another one. So these guys have got talent, but I think every player I just read out then's played under 10 games. So you've got to, it's about time, but it's not just about, driving to the MCG and turning up and going out there. We believe those guys in particular are going to form the core of our club into the future because of the manner in which they go about it. And, that's, what does that do for the supporters? Well, again, it is what it is, so it's not, we don't, like a couple of sides in the competition, and we all know who they are. We don't have the 150, 200 game players, but we're educating the next batch. That's where it's at.
Mate, Peter Jackson said
Yep.
before today's game that he would defy anyone to, really perform effectively.
Yeah.
Given what the external stuff that's gone on since you took over as coach, do you have a sense that just because of everything that's happened at the club, that you're sort of still trying to gain traction?
I think, I've had a couple of, I didn't hear what Peter said prior to the game, but I've had some discussions with Peter. He's been there for a week. He's a very insightful guy, and he's got a lot of experience, and he's certainly already in a week working with Peter sort of broaden everyone's minds, if you like. And that was certainly one of the discussions he had with me, and coaches and players, we all have that type of personality that at times you think you're bulletproof, and I'll get in here and you guys will ask me, performance, did this affect the performance? And we think we're doing the right thing by saying, of course not, don't be ridiculous, we are professional, we keep our mind on the job, and we come out with all those quotes. But Peter just challenged, I suppose, to say, look, we might be football coaches, we might be experienced footy players like Nathan, and we do what we can to, keep our eye on the ball, so to speak. But he said just maybe think about, some things that happen. We're also human.
You concerned, Mark, that given there's an assessment going on with the football department and coaching, that results like today, you might have the time?
I haven't thought about that, to be honest, Pete. That's just part of AFL footy. My main concern is going through the numbers and the footage, and trying to get the best out of the players and get them to improve. And like those batch of young boys that I read out before, there's a future there for the footy club, absolutely no question. But like I said, with Peter and some of the work that he's doing, he's very educated, he's very experienced, he's seen it all before, and some of the questions that he's asking, no doubt, are the correct ones. So I think it's a really healthy part to be a healthy thing.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
I know the chief executive doesn't decide your future, but how heartening is that for the new boss coming in to say, look, think about it, look at all this other stuff that's been going on. There's a pretty big show of support from him.
I think what it is, he's not a 10-game CEO. That's pretty clear. He's seen a lot of this stuff before, and he came in and he said to me that he is really excited by the challenge, and he's a very truthful guy, and he is, and he's one that I don't want to be self-indulgent, but I got to sit in a room during the week with Peter Jackson and Neeld Craig and talk about footy and footy experiences and how it all works, and they're the types of guys that will get as much information as they possibly can before making decisions, and before saying, well, this is the structure that we need. And I think the best decisions are, with regards to structures and those types of things, are made in that manner.
One of the things you mentioned was your experience as coach.
Yeah.
Obviously, do you feel capable of dragging the club out of where it is?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, yes, Pete is the answer, and he did. I'm a second-year coach. There's a few of us going around in the AFL, and that was part of that the realistic discussion. And but this, don't make it about me, boys. Just make it about the players. Everyone knows. The 18 months since we've been here, you jot down some of the things that have happened at the footy club. It's been a life experience for all of us, but we're still here. We're up for it. Absolutely up for it.
Just earlier when you said that the mindset may not have been like the place that, outside
You
it
say?
seems pretty amazing given it looked like.
In terms of tackling. What was that?
So the mindset may not have been right from the players earlier.
Oh, I just think that's reflective in the result with the
Yeah.
tackling.
Yeah, so just outside looking seems amazing given the match looked like it was a pretty good chance for you guys to win. It's sort of not been on.
Yeah, well, I can't answer that question. I think I'll give you my opinion on it. I think the players, Gold Coast have obviously jumped us early, and players have gone back into their shell. We're being challenged multiple times this year, and Neeld has encouraged us, particularly over the last 3 weeks, to get out the game and put some pressure on and hit bodies and get involved. And I think we did the opposite to that today, whereas the 3 weeks prior we kind of attacked the situation no matter the result. And I think my opinion is we probably went onto the back foot, didn't spread as much, didn't use the ball well enough, didn't put enough pressure on them to win it back.
And are you still at the point, Nathan, with the inexperience where if that happens to you early, it's hard to stop it as it's happening? Is that...
Yeah, that's how I feel personally, how it went today. I think 5 goals to a point, I think it was at quarter time. I don't think we saw that coming at all, and in particular our ability to put pressure on them and turn the ball over wasn't at the standard we'd seen building over the last 3 weeks. So I think that puts a bit of doubt in your mind, and we try to reinforce that message as senior players and as a coaching staff, but we couldn't really get a consistency of that effort. We saw it in patches in the second and final quarter, but